And we are back. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi. We are so excited. We have been advertising and talking about the Bru Round Table, which is happening. We have now changed it to a rectangular table.
It's now known as the long table.
The long table. So standing behind you is Brus, and we are going to learn about them.
Well, you know, many, many years ago, Jane Coleman, part of the Coleman sisters and Coleman mother, told me before I had a Bru doll, she said, men love Bru dolls. And I think she was really correct. Ladies love Bru dolls too, but men love Bru dolls. And there's just something about them. And, you know, we've talked about Bru lady dolls this week. I think it's all becoming a jumble.
We've touched on it. We haven't done a whole lot with Brus.
All right. Well, you have to come back and we'll do the lady dolls. But what we have in the Grovian is this is our selection of our bebes that we have. And it is a study group, I think, just here is a study group. Of course, it's not the most comprehensive Bru study group that you're ever going to see, because if it was, we'd have some rubber Bru bebes, some paper mache bebes, some speaking bebes. So this is a huge, enormous area of that company's work. And but what we do have is pretty much some of the masterworks from the Leon Casimir Bru era and the Henri Chauveau era. So I should probably start with the earliest end of this group, which would be this bebe and this bebe.
And real quick, just for, because I know a lot of people who are tuning in right now have never even heard of a Bru.
Well, here, I'll put on my glasses and I will read. This is from their own sales card.
Oh, cute.
And it, just to give you a concept of how far they reached, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different languages, and that they were selling their dolls to 6 different countries. And here's what they said in English. The Bru dolls are the newest, the prettiest, the strongest, and the best jointed doll of any Parisian make.
Ooh.
So that's what
they said. So they were very confident in their product.
They were confident,
that's for sure.
And you can see that here's original illustration, that the way that the dolls behind me are dressed are not an exaggeration. That's what they actually looked like. Mm-hmm. And this is the location of where they created their dolls. So they had, you know, like basically 4 separate workshops that they created them. And they did not have a shop. They sold their dolls wholesale. So this wasn't a place that the public could come in and buy a doll. Mm-hmm. They were counting on all of these foreign countries, these buyers, to buy the dolls for their shops. It's Hamleys in London, and the City of Paris department store in San Francisco. Their buyers would go and buy from their workshop.
It probably helped them get more dolls circulated by doing that.
Yes, they did. And you can just see that is for the average. I don't mean to be disrespectful to the French people, but this was really ahead of the curve to have something in 5 languages. Mm-hmm. So that, in other words, they wanted to encourage export business. So these are the earliest dolls of the group, of the bebes, and that we have. There are, of course, circle dots and other things. But these are the Bru jeunes, which the Bru jeune in C means Bru and young sons. That's what that means. And so this is the body, that's an all-kid body with kid lower legs. And this was created by the Casimir Bru era. And we have 2 of them, and they're both in their original clothes. But this one has the little goodie, which is the Bru medallion. And that's a necklace that says Bru Jeunesse.
Wow, that is very rare.
It's actually rarer than the doll itself.
Amazing. Did she come with the necklace?
Yes, yes.
Look at that.
And this is, and here we were talking on some other things about rhythm and about saving material, and our audience should take note of this. Look at the lining of the hat. Look at the dress.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same material.
Look at that.
Except it's on two different dolls that came from two totally different sources. So you know when you see this hat that that is a Bru hat or that's a real Bru dress, because what are the odds? It's very slim. And this little beauty came to us out of a home in Pasadena, California.
And is this the smallest size?
No, I think it's a size 2.
Okay.
But it is very small. Even in our inventory for sale, I don't think we've had 4 size 2s, and we've had so many other, hundreds of Brus, in our inventory. And by the way, the ones in our inventory are not lesser Brus than these dolls that went into the museum. It's just that whatever was going on in our life at the time that these dolls happened, we were able to keep these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Brus that you guys are looking at right now are part of the Grovian Museum's collection, and they are not for sale. We're going to be showing some dolls that are for sale later on. But these are just phenomenal. So if you did visit the museum or come to an event or seminar here, you can see these dolls in person, always.
Yes. And here I want to show you something. This is a wonderful photograph of the Robinson girls. And the Robinson girls, they have their little Bru just laying on the floor. And what I love these kind of photographic images because they remind you that this is, now today, a $25,000 doll. She's just sitting on the floor. She was just a toy. Yeah, she's sitting on a haystack. So the next really rare doll in the early era that we have, well, actually, I was wrong. We actually have 3 of the early Brus. This is we've talked about her earlier in the children's room, so I won't be redundant. But this is also another early one. That's our Salvation Army doll. At one time was dropped off at the Salvation Army.
At the Salvation Army, this doll you see right here.
Many years ago, 80 years ago.
What are some of the features that are on these early dolls that differentiate them from later Brus?
Well, the one thing that they have that's earlier is they have the little tongue tip. And that's a very desirable feature. You could probably get it off for photographic purposes off of the larger Bru. But the tongue tip is one.
Okay.
The tongue tip, if the mold wears down, you lose your tongue tip. And that's one of the things you look for.
So you could only use the mold a certain amount of times before it started wearing out.
And then really, now we're going to go into the Henri Chervaux era, where it's basically the same body, except the lower legs become wood. So those are wood, turned, hand-carved wood feet. Now those booties have never been removed, and they never will, as long as I own her, David and I own her. But look at that body. Look at the condition of that body.
It's phenomenal.
It's like the day it was made. It has just very, very minimal wear at all.
And that original chest label.
And an original chest label. And this is our doll, our other doll, Rose. And she's quite famous. She's been on magazine covers a few times and featured in various things. She has a wonderful layette of clothes. But this is a Bru tattoo. And what that tattoo basically translates into sucking. So you give her a bottle.
And these bottles, just so you guys know, are very rare, and they in itself sell for a few $100s.
Oh, no, not a few hundred. No.
A few thousand?
A few thousand. If you're lucky, in your lifetime to get one, you could expect to pay
a few $1,000s. Okay, for this
And
bottle.
here's the thing.
Wow.
She has many bottles because she has a huge amount of things. She's got wonderful other bottles. She only has one that's marked Bruchen.
That's just
so that's
so
the
rare.
thing. This could be a $150 bottle with a rubber tip. The thing that makes it valuable is the
Bru.
mark.
I didn't even know they did that. That is so cool.
And what you were supposed to feed them was a formula of perfumed water, so that she would drink it. You turn the dial. She sucked the water in, and then it would turn it the other way. It go back into the bottle. but you know that children had to give her milk and other things. And of course, that would, once that happened, then it would rot in the doll and become putrid and nasty.
And get in the clothes.
Get in the clothes, yeah.
Stain the body.
So they're very rare, and this is probably one of the Bru dolls, probably the most successful, because they made it from the 1870s until the demise of the company. It changed, it evolved, you know, as the periods evolved, it changed, but they're wonderful dolls. And this is really one of our little treasures. This is a Bebe Modell, and it was only made probably no less than 2 years, and it has a fully articulated wooden body that's posable. And there's lots of Bru heads, because there's more than one style of Bru head that could go on it. But this is one of the early heads, and if you notice, she has an open mouth with molded teeth.
With teeth.
Just
I'm
really
try and get in there so you guys can see. Look at the teeth on this Bru.
And this is original clothes, and at one period in time they were pink, and they've now faded to an ecru color. And I don't save auction catalogs. I find that they're just clutter to me at a period of time. But funny thing, I save really old auction catalogs, old ones. And in the 1970s, this sold at Withington's auction for $3,500. And at that same auction, you could get just about anything you wanted for like $200 or $300. So like $3,500 was like a top price lot. Here's our biggest Bru, and this is a Chevreau bodied with the wooden legs and all of that. But here you can really see the tongue tip.
And she's sitting in her étrennes, which
she's in her trend, because we didn't talk about her, but we talked about her trend.
Look at that.
Occasionally, you know, when you have a place like this with a, you know, open shop and a museum, occasionally you let someone in that's a smart aleck, and they'll say something about, you know, scary dolls and movies, plastic scary dolls. And I'll always it depends on my mood swing. Sometimes I'll help them out the door. And then other times they'll say, really, you're afraid of an 18-inch plastic doll? If you want to be afraid of a doll, this is the one that could really mess you up. Because she probably weighs 25 pounds of metal.
She's not messing around.
Metal, bisque, wood. I mean, and that they gave these to children.
Hilarious.
But you know what? One thing I should point out to you is that all of these dolls on this table are pressed bisque. And pressed bisque is a form of where you fill the head when you're making it rather than pouring, which was done much later than these. You push it in like a cookie pie crust. By doing that, you create all of these things that I find are so human, these bumps and rolls, and you wouldn't get that in porridge. You just wouldn't. You'd get a very even, but that's what gives, I think,
it looks
Bru's
natural
personality.
We're getting it real close so you guys can see, and the wonderful black eyeliner and upper and lower painted eyelashes, and
so one thing I want to tell
tongue tip.
Tongue tip.
You can really see
Here's
it right there.
something else that I have to share with your audience, and they may not know this. Now, it does not bother me because I understand. Sometimes you see Brus with wonky eyes where you think, oh, couldn't they set those eyes right? One is going a little this way or whatever. Well, there's a reason that happened. A lot of people don't know this, but actually here in this advertisement, we're selling just about every doll that they had. Bebe Bru, which is the doll in the lavish clothes. Bebe Tetour, that's her right there. And then we have Bebe Chemise, so it's a doll that's just in a chemise here. And then this was cut off, so we don't know what that is, but that's some other Bebe. If you look at this illustration, it clearly shows what we don't see today. And that is every single doll on this table had eyelashes. They all had fur eyelashes. So that's why you'll see a little gap in the eyes. And some of them, and we have had Brus that had their eyelashes. It was a strip of fur. It was very soft, and it went right in before they put the eyes in. And what happens is time goes by and the hairs fall out, just like a mink coat or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they all had lashes.
Eyelashes.
So that's why you'll see, and look, it's all in the illustration.
If you look very close, you can absolutely see it.
Mm-hmm. So that's something, hope maybe some people knew it, but some didn't.
If you guys are tuning in, we're here live at the Grovian Doll Museum having a seminar on Bebe Brus with Michael Canadas.
And then here's our Cho-Cho-san, which we talked about in Beyond the Pale, so I won't go into it, but she didn't want to be left out.
She shouldn't be.
No, she didn't want to be. So I'm going to leave the really, I think, the best for last. That, you know, there's a doll that just, I can hardly stand it because it's such an incredible doll. And this is a Brujon 8, and she's costumed as Madame Polichinelle. Completely original, marked Polichinelle shoes, you know, classic Polichinelle costume. But look at the fit of this bodice. It's just perfection.
Just absolutely.
And this doll has been, people have copied, which is fine. They've copied it, enjoyed doing reproductions in this. And I think I told you the other day I even saw a Googly dressed in this, which was kind of cute.
Sounds adorable.
It was adorable. It was a little chubby Googly, but she carries this off beautifully. We've shared this outside of the building one time before, and that's really, she does not leave the building. And it's an amazing thing. The wig, everything is in original condition. David did a wonderful job covering these stands, but a lot of our viewers would actually like to see a side profile in the back of the outfit if possible. Sure. You know, he's terrified that he knows I hate the thought of seeing a stand base. So while we were doing something else, look at the side view of that hat. While he was doing something else, he set this up for us. And he did a wonderful job. It looks gorgeous. And you know, when this was new, this was probably bright blue and bright red, and it would have just probably knocked your eyes out to see it. What's nice about her is she's very, very sweet. And I like a sweet Bru, but I also enjoy a mean one too. Or a naughty one. Or one that's, I'm not taking that. I almost think when my mother had a saying. She kind of has Nellie Olson syndrome a little bit. A little bit, but my mother always used to say to, it's great that you're beautiful, but don't be stupid. And you can see that she's she's smart. She's smart. Oh yeah. But she'll watch over the rest of. Listen, I could talk about Brus all day long, but I know that you have to go, so I'm going to tune off. You know, people are welcome to come and see these anytime. They are so marvelous. We're going to pan this table one more time. We have a lot of people tuning in. If you guys love Brus and this was just a fabulous presentation, share the video so more people can see it. We are going to be hopping on Ruby Lane and doing a live tour of the Carmel Doll Shop. The big difference between everything that you've seen so far and what you're going to see next is everything in the next video is for sale. We'll see you guys in a minute. Bye-bye. Bye.